What's up, you guys? We're doing something fun today. We'll give you guys a few minutes. I'm waiting for our guest this evening to log in, and I'm actually going live on Facebook at the same time. So I'm hoping this is going to work. So let me know if you guys have any questions. There's Dennis. How do I invite him? How do I get him on?
He needs to.
I don't know how to do it.
He needs.
Sent you a request. Okay, go live with Dennis. Let's see if it works. Go live with Dennis. I pushed it.
It's doing
There
it.
it is.
There we
Yay!
go.
It worked.
Yeah, barely, yeah.
Okay, talk.
Talk?
Yeah, I can't. I want to make sure everybody can hear us.
Hear me? Clear?
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, please say hello. Send us hearts, waves. Just want to make sure you guys can hear us. I'm going live on Facebook with my computer and on Instagram with my phone. So this is the first time I've ever done that. But I have an exciting guest tonight, Coach Dennis Phipps. He's been working with me how many years now, Dennis?
7, 8 years.
7 or 8 years. Oh, actually, yeah, that's exactly right. 8 years, right? Or a little bit less than 8 years. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Dennis. I've been the cycling coach for Full Circle Coaching for a while. I do bike fittings. I'm married to Adriana. I don't know. I've just been around the community. I did some Pro 1, 2, 3 races back in the day. Love cycling. That's my passion. Just got into the sport. I mean, I kind of got into the sport because I got invited to a camp, and then my wife wasn't my wife at the time, but now she's my wife. We all started. She does triathlons, so I started doing the triathlons and stuff. Like my first race was Key West, so it was a while back.
This is not going to work because no one can see you on Facebook. So I need to do something. I need to, first of all, give me 1 second, little technical difficulties. I am going to first push record. But then you need to be on my Facebook too. I don't know if that can work. We didn't think about this, Ollie. Because if it's on Facebook and it's just me, what's the point? So
Yeah,
we must wrap it with Facebook.
I'd probably have to join in Facebook on another computer.
Oh, you can? Or you
I can't.
You can't? All right, so it's not going to work on Facebook. It's just me.
Just do Instagram. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to end this. Sorry, guys, if you guys want to follow us and enjoy the conversation, we're going to be over at Instagram. So Aaron, see, it's on my Full Circle page, Full Circle Coaching, at Full Circle Coaching. And I'm sorry, I tried to do it, but I guess we can't do both at the same time. My bad. Bye. Okay, so this is it. All right, that makes more sense. Okay, so I would like to go back. So Dennis and I met by accident. So my boyfriend at the time actually used to come home and tell me about this crazy guy, Dennis, that he would bike race with, and how he was just so into the numbers and all the latest gear. And unfortunately, my boyfriend passed away, and I never met Dennis before my boyfriend passed away. So, I was in a pretty negative place for a long time. And the next couple of weeks, I got an email from Dennis saying, "Hey, you don't know me, but I was friends with your boyfriend, Ryan Williams. I want to put a memorial ride together for him, And so one of my clients, one of my athletes, Adriana Lopez, also reached out to me and said she wanted to do something to help remember Ryan. And what was so funny is I just connected them. And when did you guys get married, Dennis?
We got married 2018.
Right. So it's kind of funny because we all met. I had known Adriana, his wife, but in 2013 or 14. Was it 13?
13.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, so that's when they got connected, they got introduced to each other, and they ended up getting married to each other. So talk about a full circle moment. That's pretty kind of cool, right? So Dennis was a great addition to the coaching staff just because he was so knowledgeable about everything cycling. I really appreciate all his knowledge and everything about, on the group rides, being able to change a flat in 2 seconds. The bike fits are absolutely amazing. I can honestly say I've worked with many bike fits all over Miami and Florida. But the reason Dennis is so great at his bike fits is because he's actually a triathlete and a cyclist himself. So he knows what it takes to fit someone correctly on the bike, not necessarily following the numbers that the whatever protocol or kit you're using, right? He looks at the athlete as an individual, and based on their flexibility and their ability, he fits the bike to them so that they then can have the most comfortable and fast position to then ride. And yes, of course, as they get better, he'll tweak the fit for you. I mean, I've used him for every single one of my bike fits. So every athlete that comes through Full Circle Coaching gets a bike fit from Dennis. So we're super happy to have him today because we're actually talking about his Ironman journey. And it actually started not in 2021. So he did not start training for Ironman in 2021. He actually started training for Ironman in 2020. Hey, Vashti, how are you? Yes. So let's go back to that when you first signed up. When you guys first signed up, it was for Ironman Texas, right?
Yeah, it was in 2019 because Adriana was having her 50th birthday in 2020.
Okay,
I'm
so that
pretty
was
sure.
the reason why you guys were doing it, right?
Yeah, her 50th. She's like, I'm doing an Ironman for my 50th birthday. That's how it started.
Right, awesome. And so we had a big group. We had like 10 people that were signed up for that race. But of course, unfortunately, what's so crazy is we were all at camp together in March. And literally, we finished camp on Sunday, and that Wednesday, the entire country got shut down, right?
Exactly.
So it was just awesome that we barely got out of camp, and we were able to have camp that year, but obviously no one did Ironman that year. So you guys deferred to Florida in 2020, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, in 2020 or 2019?
In 2020, we deferred that year to Florida, the next one.
Okay.
I'm not sure. We deferred to Florida, and then we skipped
No,
Florida.
yeah, so
again.
you deferred to Florida in 2019, and then in 2019, you deferred. Oh, no, wait, everything happened. All the meltdown happened in 2020, right?
2020.
Yeah, so 2020. So then 2020, you guys weren't ready to do it, whatever. Everybody was
we remember I had a broken foot. I had COVID. Right. I had COVID. We all had COVID. We were really heavy, out of shape. Haven't worked out in a long time.
Right.
So.
And then, so you deferred to Ironman Florida 2021. And
exactly.
When did you actually really start getting serious about training?
So really about 6 months ago from now, like even today, I called you on the phone because we had the entries, and me and Adriana are like, are we going to do this race or not? Because if we're not going to do it, we're going to go out, because you gotta behave. So,
right.
So we were like, if we're gonna do this race. So I called Aaron up on the phone, and I told Aaron, I said, do you really think that we can do it? We have 180 days. She goes, I know you can do it. You have the background. I go, but we haven't done anything. She's like, okay. So I go, we have another problem, is that we've been running in Brooks. Pure cadence shoes, but they discontinued them. We ran on those for like 7 years.
Right.
So we couldn't find shoes. So we were switching around shoes. So it took us about 2 weeks just to find a pair of shoes that kind of worked, but we weren't sure. And so we started running. It was like really difficult. So basically like 5.5 months, we started running. Like we were literally doing like 2-mile runs. You can see back on Strava, like 2-mile runs, 1 bike ride, and maybe a swim. I didn't start swimming until like 5 months out.
Okay, so we're gonna get into each of the sports: swim, bike, and run. But it was like the rest of my group that was training for this race, they were already doing like 60-mile bike rides every weekend. They were already doing like 10-mile runs. Some of them even 13 miles runs 6 months out. So although Adriana and Dennis were super far behind, they both have been training with me for many, many years. So they did have that muscle memory. And I knew especially what Dennis was capable of physiologically, just because I've worked with him many times. He's done triathlons and stuff like that. So I knew that he had the engine already. It was just a question of getting him in the water, because that is number one, your biggest limiter, no, without a doubt. And then just getting consistent. So honestly, just getting them to commit to the training and getting 10 hours, in a week, was it took a while, right? It took a while for you guys to get back on that training wagon. You said the shoes were a setback. Adriana had her calf issue, which I'm going to be interviewing her in a couple of days, hopefully next week. But, the thing is, the road to Ironman is never a straight line in the right direction, right? There are always like these huge dips and these huge obstacles that you have to overcome. But it's all about, you know, using the coaching and having the advice of the coach and all the teammates, right? How much advice did you get from all the athletes who had been Ironman before, right? So it's definitely a tribal or communal thing to help support you to get to the race. So let's talk about your swim. Do you mind if we start with that?
Go ahead. We can talk about that.
And we're going to do the nutrition and all that too. But let's talk about the swim, just because as a bigger athlete, meaning more muscular, you know, over the years we've trained together and I've gotten you to be able to float a little bit, right? And so as a more muscular athlete, you know, you tended to sink. So really focusing on your balance and really feeling comfortable in the water was super duper key. But, you know, why don't you talk about the struggles, even getting back in the water? You kind of procrastinated, but once you broke through, right, and you just committed to getting the yards in, right? Talk about that journey a little bit.
Yeah, so like I was having to get up, I still was having to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. So, and me and Adriana, we wanted our Sundays free. So Sunday was our rest day. So we did everything during the week and then we had a Saturday. That was it. So we had no Sunday training.
Yeah.
So I was like getting up at like, I would have to be at LA Fitness at 5 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't train with the group. So I just, which hurt me. Like I would be more benefit with the group. Definitely. So I, you know, I got in the pool and was just basically getting it done, like getting one thing done, practicing on my sides, trying to float. Like literally I'd be in there like.
Oh, wait, I lost you.
And like, it was hard. And then also like just with my body, I was out of shape. I 6 months ago, I was 220 pounds, 220.
Right.
Like that's the most I've ever weighed in my life. There was a time when I was lifting weights, I weighed like 216, but I've never weighed 220. So it was a lot. So
you came, you know, and also you are very tight, right? You're not a flexible guy. And so what happens is when you're not that supple in the water, you tend to sink more. And you're not able to get that much extension, right? So really, I was just focusing on you, just really trying to lower your stroke count, right? Because it was up, you know, really high, and you got it down to like 22 strokes per lap, right? And that was what we were focusing on, long and strong, right?
That's right. And
really just not burning out, right? Because as, like you said, with the more muscle you have, and you were kicking so hard all the time. I remember you're like, I'm at like 90% effort, right? But really learning how to just dial it back and just being comfortable, right? And not worrying so much about the speed at all, right? So then, like, I remember the time you hit that first 4,400 swim, which is the distance of a race. Unfortunately, Ironman Florida ended up being a little bit longer than that. But the 4,400 is what I aim for with the athletes in the pool. And I just remember when you texted me and you're like, I did it. I did my 4,400. And although it was a little bit difficult, like you were able to do it and repeatedly do that. How many 4,400 swims did you get?
I think 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then you went finally in the open water, and every weekend you guys were good about your open water swims. You started out like 2,000, right? And you just kept going, you kept building. I remember there one time when you were with Kaya and you like ran into her and you're like, yeah, I'm done for today. We're like, okay, that's good. You know, at least you were out here, right? And so you got a couple of really good, solid open water swims as well, right? And we built the confidence that you definitely didn't have, you know, 4 months ago, I would say, right?
Less than that, 2 months.
2 months, right? It took a while. You definitely procrastinated.
No, I mean, like, I think 4 weeks out before the race is when I finally broke through the shell. Yeah. 4 weeks.
What a good feeling, right? What a good feeling. And I knew going into, I mean, I've been at Ironman Florida probably 6 times. And it's a crapshoot as far as what you're going to get for the water conditions. I've been there when they've had to cancel the swim. I've been there when it's crazy rough on Friday, and then Saturday it's like glass. I've been there when there's huge rollers, and I actually got seasick during the swim there. So I knew that I needed to prepare all the athletes, especially Dennis, you know, his first time Ironman, for any race conditions. And how many times did I beg you to go swim on South Beach?
South Beach, yeah.
Every weekend, I'm like, please, Dennis, go get in the waves on South Beach. Just go get in the waves Why don't you tell them the first time you went with you know what happened?
Okay, so the kind of embarrassing moment. I mean,
But
I forget
it's normal.
Yeah, but I mean, the group's called Dolphins and
The
Rainbows, right?
dolphins and rainbows, yeah.
So I show up there my very first time, Dolphin and Rainbows, okay? It is like blowing rough, rough, rough.
It's like 2 to 4. Yeah, it was so crazy.
Even the people doing the thing were like, "Oh man, this is crazy." So I literally get in the water. The group takes off. They all have floating buoys. Like I have trouble swimming. Like I'm not the best swimmer. So I get out
You can't say
there.
that anymore, though. You can't say that anymore.
I know. I can't say that anymore. So I get out there and I literally make it to the first buoy straight out, and I'm about to cling onto that for my life. I'm like literally drowning. So I just barely make it back to shore. I did like honestly like a 300.
Right.
Like, and I went home. That was it. I went home.
Yeah, you're like, you went home with your head hanging low, right? And I was like,
There was even another girl
worry.
that came back too. Yeah.
But I was like, don't worry. You have to just keep going out there. You have to keep going out there.
And then,
build your confidence.
The next time we went, me and Adriana were trying on some wetsuits, but it's been hot. It was like 90. It was like 84-degree water temperature. So we're in our wetsuits and we're swimming, and like we made it 2,200 one direction, and we overheated. We had to leave our wetsuits with the lifeguard and swim back. And then we went home and we were wrecked for the rest of the day because we were overheated. We were sweating.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad.
It's tough to train for a cold race when it's so hot here too. So that's just another challenge. Okay, so let's talk about nutrition, because that was also something that you kind of definitely had to adjust like a million times, because you know, for me, my athletes, I'm really into clean nutrition, but honestly for race day, you got to figure out what works for you. Every single person is completely individual, and what works for them has to be figured out before the big day, right? So on all your bricks and all your long rides, you were mixing stuff up. So I know, why don't you tell us about the nutrition journey?
So normally I switched from, all over to Vitargo, and I was putting like two scoops in a bottle. Okay. But I also found out that I was like regurgitating because I'm in aero bars. Like when I hit a couple bumps, my stomach, and if I drink, I can only drink a quarter bottle at a time. So I'm literally like regurgitating. So it was a problem. But I found out later, because it's very strong on the flavors. So I ended up mixing a thing called base nutrition, and I mixed 1 scoop of that and 1 scoop of Vitargo. But base has sodium, but it doesn't have as much calories. It's only 80 calories, and Vitargo is 140. So I'm missing calories there, but it was smoother on my stomach. I also had to change my bike fitting. I realized raising 15 millimeters up higher stopped the fluids from coming up into my throat.
Okay, so wait, what did you raise? Your seat or your handlebars?
The stem. I brought the aero bars up 15 mil. 15 mil.
That's a lot.
Changed my entire stomach and everything. Like it changed.
That's a really good point, you guys, because people think that you just get one bike fit, and you get one bike fit per type of race that you're doing.
Exactly.
And, you know, this is another reason why Dennis is such a great bike fitter, because he asks you, what distance are you racing for? Are you training for an Ironman, or are you training for sprints? Because the reason why your bike was that aero before is because you were doing sprints.
Sprints only, yeah.
Right. So that's why you were so aggressive, and you were hitting that, 20 miles an hour or whatever. But yeah, it was such a good revelation, and you only changed that like a couple weeks out, right? How long?
I changed it like 4 weeks out.
Yeah, so that was awesome. So bike fit is everything, not just for comfort. I mean, he actually changed almost, I think 3 of our athletes that did the race had their bike fit changed within the 3 weeks before the race, just because they were having so many issues. They couldn't stay aero. It was Jesse, Elise, and Christopher, right?
Yeah.
All their bike fits like within the 4 weeks before the race, just because they were not able to
hold
just that aero position.
Yeah, because it's because you're down so far, you can't, like, it's your neck is hurting. There's a lot. Like, it's actually, I'm going to leave the bike fit the way it is, even for a sprint. I'm more efficient. I really feel it.
Well, you have a more open hip angle, right? And you're allowed to get that out of the calories in without having the stomach upset. So that's
because the stomach it was killing me, honestly. And then if I went into the run, there was a time I did a brick. We did a 4,400 swim. We rode on Key Biscayne, I think, for 1 hour, and then it was a super day, and we were getting ready to do a run. I ran 2 miles down the street. I had to call my wife before she started. please pick me up. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I can't make it back. Like, I was dying because I was so messed up from before.
Right.
Like, once your stomach's messed up, it's over, you know? So
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
you know, having trouble
There
with
was
that.
definitely some digestive issues, but on race days. Okay, so we're talking about that's leading up to the race. We worked on your swim, we worked on your bike, and how about your run? I think your shoes were probably the biggest issue leading into the run training, right? So Dennis, I know you have done half marathons, but you've never gone the marathon distance before, correct?
Never touched the marathon. I've trained clients up to 24 miles. Like, I'm like, I should just run 2 more and say I did it.
But
Yeah.
you never raced a marathon.
No, never have.
I know you had a really kick-ass a Miami half marathon a couple years ago.
Yeah, like,
when it was like, we remember we did low heart rate training all through winter, and you like PR'd. What was your time on that?
I think a 141.
Yeah, you PR'd at a 141. So, you know, I was confident that you were going to be able to finish the run well, but you had that broken toe, right? You had the broken toe in 2019. So that was like something that we were concerned with, and you actually started having pain again.
Yeah.
When you started ramping up the run, right?
Yeah, I had pain on my left foot where the broken foot was. Then it switched to my right foot. Then I got bursitis in my hip. I mean, I was literally like.
But I want to tell you guys, like, this is what happens when you train for 4 months leading up to the race. I'd like to have you for a year, right? I'd like to have you for a year building on those sprint distance, those Olympic distance, so that the impact and the volume on your body isn't so stressful, right? These are the things that can kind of happen, but I always find a way. We always work together to find a way to find a solution, right? So you definitely got new shoes, right? That was one thing.
I got new shoes, but I still felt that maybe they were too thin for my feet, you know?
Yeah.
So, but whatever, but I wasn't changing again. I mean,
Right.
Once I got the shoes, I'm committed. Like, there's no turning back.
It was too late. It was too late to change. And you know, the shoes that he got were my favorite shoes, which is the Ultras, which are 0 drop, you guys. So no uplifted heel and no uplifted toe. So I'm a big fan of natural running shoes, and Ultra is definitely the brand that I recommend. And they committed to it, even though, you know, they had a few little setbacks, but you know, it worked out okay, right?
Yeah, but the shoes we got were called runners. They were like, they're a little thin. So we might have got a different pair. Now we got the new one, so we'll see how that works. But
yeah, so you get a new one right now. Okay,
yeah,
so let's go to race day. Let's go to race day. You guys are all.
Wait, I want to go right before race day real quick. I want to go to the how we did the meal plan and prep before. Because,
Okay.
Because I want to explain that you guys don't know. I was having stomach problems 2 days before the race, so my wife made.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Prepped out. On Tuesday we were prepped for the race, but you know, we did a lot of sweet potatoes, a lot of soups, a lot of stuff. So like, not only my nerves, but I started feeling like 2 days before the race my stomach was just not right. I did a serious Epsom salt bath, like maybe too much magnesium. I overdid it.
Right.
Like, the truth, I really overdid it. So I was like, but I was feeling, I overdid the pre-race. Like, it was terrible. So I was like too clean, you know. So literally the day of the race, we went out and had a steak because I need like solid food. Like, my body's messed up. Like, I don't know if I did the right thing or not, but I'm like, I need solid, you know, like I was just, you know, so long story is, we talked to a couple of other people that did Ironman, and they recommended, this is not Aaron's thing at all, but they recommended that just in case, that they heard that like it's a good thing to carry like Gas X or something for emergency, like your emergency on the bike or the run or before you got to run. So I'm like, I'm already feeling that 2 days before. I'm like, man, my stomach's messed up. So so she went on, got the Gas X, all that. I put a couple on the bike and a couple in my pocket. So we'll leave it like that, and then I want to prep what's going to happen. So
okay, cool. But you guys, it's totally normal to have like jitters, you know, before the race and have an upset stomach, you know, and but the magnesium, what he's talking about, when you actually you can absorb magnesium through your skin. Up to 40%, right? So if you overdo a magnesium bath, it can actually make you have a loose stool, believe it or not. So that's what he's talking about.
Exactly. I messed myself up.
Yeah, it's good to have a combination of topical magnesium or magnesium bath flakes and, internal, but you got to find the right balance so you don't have those bathroom issues. Okay, so let's talk about race day, because the day before the race, you guys sent me videos. I wasn't at the race, unfortunately, but the conditions were windy, very, very windy the day before the race, but the water looked kind of flat, right? So, no one really, you guys all got in as usual. You did your pre-race workouts, you did the swim, you did the bike, you did the run.
Yes.
Trying to get the elements and see how cold the water was and all that stuff. So let's talk about that day.
Well, we actually did it. We did it the 2 days before
Yeah.
on a Thursday, because Friday was scheduled to rain.
Yeah.
So we did everything on Thursday, and Friday we kind of took off.
Right.
It was bike drop off, all that. So when we did it, the wind's blowing from the north, so the water looked flat.
Yeah.
And we only went around the pier. We didn't go out as far as the race. So
right.
I'll explain that later. So we only went around the pier and back, which was pretty nice. It was windy. The cold front didn't come down yet, but it was coming. The cold front was coming. So.
Yeah. And I remember one of our athletes, Richard, who you guys have heard about. I have a couple of lives with him, but he recommended you guys swim out past the pier. And I really wish you would have taken that advice. But everyone was like kind of, apprehensive, whatever. It was windy. It was cold, right? So the day before the race comes, and you guys are sending me videos, and it's like crazy. It's like hellacious. It's like 20-mile-an-hour winds. It's like 40 to 45 degrees, whatever. And they're just talking. Everyone's talking about, oh my God, it's going to be so cold in the morning, right? So what were you thinking at that point?
So a couple things. I was happy, honestly. I think I remember I called you like maybe a week before the race and go, if it's a cold race, it's going to be a fast race,
right.
And it's going to be good for the wetsuit, because I go so hard in the wetsuit that I need to be cooler, right. So I don't overheat myself in the wetsuit and lose, I'm always about losing the nutrition. So,
right.
But but it was really cold. Like it was like 47 in the morning for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then the wind chill was down to like 44 when it was blowing, and it was blowing like 20-mile-an-hour. I think on the bike it got up to 20, 25 on gust, but it was blowing a constant 15 and blowing at 20.
Right.
And then like the water temperature during the race start was 68 degrees water temperature. So we're out there, we're in the sand barefoot. I mean, it was brutal. I can tell a lot.
I honestly would say, I've done only one Ironman, and it was Ironman California, and the water was cold, but the air was not. But being such a cold water and a cold weather chicken person, I'm not sure I would have started the race. Like, it was that bad, right, you guys?
No, there was people there that were like looking around like, what am I doing? I mean, we were all together like sardines, like, and it was warmer. Like there was a couple thousand people. There was like almost 2,300 people. We were all stuck together. We were like me and Adriana, we hopped into the 110 swim group.
Oh,
because
wow.
we want to get in the water.
Right.
The water's warmer.
Yeah, that was smart.
So we want to get in the water, but a lot of people did that. So the 110 group was literally 1,000 people.
Wow.
And then all the 135 group was a little group in the back, which everybody was lying,
right.
So
okay.
Yeah,
so let's get right into it. Let's get into what did you have actually before the swim? Did you have any nutrition?
Okay, so my normal every single day I stick to the same thing. So I have 2 scoops of collagen. I have raw meal plain, but I had that 3 hours before the event, so you can digest like the protein. Okay. So I do, and then I did. I didn't do a goo. I did like a stinger waffle.
Okay.
Like that, and I had a piece of Go Macro bar.
Okay.
Like this, because that was my food. Like there was nothing else. Oh, we also had breakfast too in the morning.
Yeah, I was wondering because I thought you guys normally.
Yeah, we had breakfast. We had eggs and all that in the morning. Yeah, we had all that. So we had a lot.
You jump in the water and your feet hit the water. What happens? Like, let's talk us through that.
So we get in the water. Get out there. It wasn't bad. The water didn't even get in yet. Like my face was already frozen, but it didn't even get in the wetsuit. I was swimming and like my body, it was like stuck to my body. So I was like, that was good. It was like bang up. There were so many slow people that we were like mowing over people. Like I'm trying to swim with my arms and not kick people from behind, like try to be polite. Like I'm swimming like it was crazy. I was with some crazy guys. So we went out and then we got out to the red buoy, and my heart rate was through the roof. I mean, I had my numbers.
Yeah.
I was hitting 171 on the heart rate.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, 171 was my max, and I averaged 154 in the swim, which is
Okay. Now, normally when people jump into that cold water, they have that take your breath away feeling. Like, did you try to warm up on the beach at all, like jumping jacks or anything like that to kind of get your body temperature up, or no? Everybody was just like petrified.
we were just shivering. Everybody was shivering, like literally.
My gosh.
We were all just shivering. Yeah,
Right,
it was
right,
crazy.
right.
Because you have to take your socks off and throw them away before you even get up there. So
Right.
you're barefoot in cold sand. Yeah.
Right. Okay,
So basically,
you make it to that first buoy, and that's when everybody was complaining. I don't know if you guys have read all the reports, but everyone was like, oh my God, because it was like a cross current, right?
big time. So we get to the first red buoy. You make a right turn.
Yeah.
And it's like waves in your face. Like they're coming over in your face. Like,
Right.
so you mean literally you just like look up and you're kind of like digging your head in, like plowing through the waves. And your arms too, you're stroking, like jamming through the waves. Like
Right.
that was
to
yeah, you have to like force yourself through the waves. Otherwise you wouldn't go anywhere. There's no,
Right.
you can tell. And then the weird thing is between the red buoy and the red buoy, there was an orange buoy, but it was out of place.
Oh.
So the red buoys like drug out farther. Like they weren't, and by the second loop they were way out. So then we get to the next red buoy, make a right, and the current is blowing over half the field on the inside the buoys. So like half the swimmers didn't swim the course. They were off.
Right.
We were fighting to get around the buoys.
So it was pushing you to the right as you were trying to head towards the beach.
It was pushing us to the right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, because that's what I saw.
Oh, it's backwards on you when you show it because you're
right. As you're heading to the beach, though, you're being pushed to the right. Okay. Cool. So you make it to shore, and what was your time? Like, what did you like?
Okay, so just before I got to shore, like I saw my watch, like on 2 buoys out. We were like 25 minutes and 2 buoys to the shore, like we're close. And then I got kicked a couple times, and my watch said transition 1. It switched.
No.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So I get out of the water and I delete it and start my watch over.
Oh no!
I deleted it. I mean, I couldn't even think. Like literally, I'm running down the beach. I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to start my watch so I get my transitions in there. So I cleared it out and started it. I'm running on the beach, and like Mike Estevez is talking to me, like saying, hey, and I'm like stumbling. I'm like running and like falling sideways. I don't know if it's from me swimming in my body, but my equilibrium is so screwed up. So I'm like, so we're running down the beach. We get back in the water. I'm like, I'm gonna try to slow down a little bit because the lady goes, what group is this? She goes, oh, we're the 110 swimmers. I was with the 110 swimmer guys, you know.
That's awesome.
So then we get back in the water, and I try to slow down, but we're still passing people people started a lot longer than before we got in the water.
Right.
So we get back around, get out to the red buoy again, and this time it's really blowing. Like it's getting worse in the morning until like 8 o'clock, I think. So we go ahead to the buoys, and I look out, and the red buoy's farther out to the left. The second one, I'm like, wait a minute. If you look on everybody's swims, like it looks so, you can tell it's out of shape. Like the buoys, they moved. So whatever, we go around, we swim back, we're swimming. I'm like getting close to shore. I'm actually in a rhythm. It took me like the first lap, the second lap, I'm in a rhythm coming back. Oh. And I'm one of the only swimmers far out to the left with the waves coming to my left. So I'm breaking the waves. And everybody else is inside the buoys again, going in.
Right.
And I go around, 2 buoys to the end, I swallow a load of water. Like literally, I took a breath in. I was just sighting to look up, and I stuffed myself.
Oh no!
So I had to sit there and wait and literally choke, and cough it out and just try to float.
Right.
And then back up a little bit. On the second lap, where all the red buoys are, that's where everybody was getting picked up. There was boatloads of people. It was like people were hanging on to the rafts. Yeah. Jet skis, it was crazy. It was like, I'm like swimming along going, oh my God, look at all these people on the boats. So they pulled exactly around 500 swimmers out of the swim.
Wow.
And we heard they pulled out 2 professional swimmers. Like
Wow.
That's a lot,
Yeah,
you know?
that's crazy. Yeah.
So we make it to the shore, I get out, I'm running, like literally I'm happy because I get to hit my transition.
Right.
I pull down, I'm like, it's freezing outside, but I took off my wetsuit top and I peeled it down and I'm running. And
Oh
it's
my
a long
God.
run. I was hot. It didn't matter. It was a
Okay.
long run in the street. Like you run down the street
Right.
to the left. So
Okay.
we're running down there and
Okay, so I forgot. We always do, all my athletes have to turn in a report to me, their pre-race plan, as well as their tri-calc 3. We never did that. Yes, you guys, please keep pushing hearts. This is a great story about Dennis's journey to his first Ironman. But you guys, so we do this tri-calc 3. That's an app that we use. So why don't you say what your tri-calc 3, what our predicted time was for the swim, for the transition, for the bike, for the run. Just say it now, and then we're
Okay. So I predicted like a 140 something swim.
Yeah.
Aaron thinks I could have done a 130.
With no current and like.
With no current. We were thinking like a 130 something. She says, I think you could do that. And I'm like, I don't know. My heart rate's kind of high.
Right.
So I did like a 144 swim, I think. So I was like literally right on the money with the conditions. Like what? So then I picked the first transition 10 minutes. Second transition was 7 minutes.
Right.
And then I picked on the bike. I was supposed to average like a 21 on the bike. And in the run, I picked like a 10:45 or 10:30 minute mile, something like that.
Yeah, and this was based on your training. Like it's not
Off
like
my training of like what my heart rate was versus this is only training. Like
this is based on training zone 2 efforts. You did lots of intervals above zone 2, but to get to race day. But for the race, it's all zone 2, right? So we had this plan, and your total time on the tri-calc 3 was what?
I think it was right at 12 hours.
Right. It was actually, I have it. Actually, it's on the phone. I can't look it up.
It was like at 12 hours. Like 12.
Okay.
Like I picked 12 hours plus 15 minus 15. Now we knew I was going to be somewhere, depending on what happened.
Okay. I don't know. I thought it was like 12:30, but anyway, I have it, so I'll post that. But anyway. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so you get it to the bike, you get on the bike, and then what happens? So in there.
I get to transition, and remember, we're completely changing our clothes. So I wrap a towel around my body. I'm pulling off the wetsuit. I'm putting on new cycling shorts, like changing completely.
Right.
Putting on long socks because it's 47.
Right.
I'm pulling up like thigh-high socks like back in the 70s. Like, no, seriously, arm warmers, everything. I decided to leave the gloves. I didn't use the gloves.
You didn't? Your famous long-fingered gloves? You didn't use them?
I didn't use them. Nope. And then also, one of the things I prepared myself for was in the morning, I was deciding on what jersey I'm going to wear for the run and what jersey I'm going to wear for the bike. Or if I was going to wear 2 jerseys. I was literally going outside at 3:30 in the morning, feeling the weather like, okay, can I do this? Can I not?
Can you handle it?
So what I did was I put all my nutrition in each jersey already loaded. So on my bike, I had 2 bottles. So when I got in, I just slipped my arms in and put the jersey on and zipped it up and everything was in there.
Nice. That's a good strategy. I like that.
So I picked it up, boom, and I had everything ready for the run when I got back, just like that.
Okay,
So I tried to eat a couple blocks, but they were frozen, hard as a rock, stuck in my teeth.
Oh my God.
I realized I have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So I stopped by the Porta-John on the way out on the bike, went to the bathroom real quick, got on the bike. I ate 1 waffle, and then I started riding.
Right.
And I was like, man, and my heart rate was high. Yeah. It even said fitness. It came up on my computer screen. It said fair.
Wow.
Like it was bad. Like if you look at the charts, it was negative. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah,
so
that's not a good sign.
So I started on the bike and I'm like, oh, and another thing I did, which I talked to Aaron before, was one of my secrets that I used to use when I cycled was I used to take cinnamon capsules. So I popped a cinnamon before I got on the bike because I knew I would sweat a little bit more and I needed to consume the bottles, because that's my nutrition. So I popped a cinnamon, but that wouldn't kick in for a while. It takes an hour or so to kick in. So
yes, cinnamon, you guys, just to let you know, cinnamon is a vasodilator. So it's a great thing to do before training. I use my cinnamon essential oil every day before I go training. So that's what Dennis is talking about. But that's a really good idea because it actually warms you up and you can actually get a little bit of a warm flush in your bloodstream. And that's such a smart thing. That's awesome. But I wanted to also talk about, we got to go back about the power meter because you didn't have power. Like Dennis normally had a power meter, but his power meter was broken. Training. And for like 3 months, I mean, 3 months, he had no power meter.
It was like three weeks before the race or 2 weeks
so
before.
I was like, you have to get a power meter. If you want to have the best race you can have, you have to have a power meter because heart rate is good. But what if you had only paid attention to your heart rate on the race? You would not have had the race you could have had based on the power, right? You had to have both to help regulate and be able to show up and give your best effort because the heart rate was so high just because of the cold and all that stuff that you were doing, but you still stuck to your power numbers.
I stuck to my power, yes.
Yeah.
So what happened was, at least I knew, back to that, like I knew all my heart rate numbers by heart.
Yeah.
Like I know what that was. So when I got the power and I did a couple of those long rides before the race, I knew like, okay, this is what I can do. This is where my heart rate should be. Right. This is my power.
Yeah.
So then I go in and my power zones were between 180 at the low and 210 at the high. But since it was cold, I knew I can keep it in the 210.
Right.
So that was where I was at mostly. And plus
that was zone 2 power, you guys. Zone 2 aerobic Ironman 112.
Yeah, it was zone 2. That's my zone 2. So I'm holding 210 in the headwind, and then every hour I have little baggies where I'm eating a salt tab, and I'm eating 2 perfect aminos. I have little baggies, so I have a whole bag full of these between me. Like I'm eating like every hour one of those to add my sodium.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing 1 macro bar, half a macro bar, every hour on the half an hour.
Okay. Cool.
So I think the hardest part on the bike was eating.
Yeah,
like,
chewing. It's hard.
So like literally I have to put a half a macro bar in my mouth and sit there and chew for like, and grab a bottle and rinse a little bit. And I spent like 15 or 20 minutes on the macro bar. Right. Then I spent at least 10 minutes on every hour I had a stinger.
Right.
For the three stingers. So it was, the hardest part was the chewing. Like it was like that was.
True. When you're pushing and you have to breathe, it's hard to chew something. So we
have
have
to
to
ask. My nose. Yeah, breathe in your nose. Yeah.
We have to ask, what is the flavor of macro bar that you used?
I used peanut butter chocolate chip.
Okay, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites. And then, of course, let's talk about perfect aminos. So you guys know how I love my perfect aminos, right? So perfect aminos is one of those things that it stabilizes the blood sugar. And a lot of my athletes have been using them on these longer distance races, and it's been working out amazing just to have that little bit of protein throughout the day instead of just having all the carbohydrates. Would you agree, Dennis, that it helped you?
Exactly. No, and I'm going to talk about in the run. It actually saved me in the run. I'll explain that later.
I believe it. Okay, so what are your watts? You're holding 210 pretty much the whole time on the bike?
210, 200 to 210. So I'm holding that, but it's windy.
What are your RPMs?
So I'm actually at like 93. I don't have it on me, but 93. So
yeah, that's amazing.
So I was holding it, and I'm passing a lot of people. Like it was like, because it was windy, and I was surprised. I'm like, I'm averaging, I guess, around 19 or 19.2, which normally I would be going way faster. But, I think the first 70 miles was cross and headwinds.
Right.
So about a mile 40, my stomach was hurting me. Okay. Like, and I had to go to the bathroom. Like, I'm already getting to where, like, I'm not sweating enough, but I need to go pee. And, like, right. So the next major stop is mile 56. Okay. Like where people can stop. So this is where the whole race, I didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. So I'm driving into that area, and I see the bathroom lines. I'm like, oh my. So I'm like, guess what? I'm going to skip it. Yeah. I'm going to go on the bike. I don't know what I'm going to do in my head, but it was a super long like a rest station, like super long. So I got to the other end, and there was 2 porta johns with nobody there. So I pull my bike in, I go, and the guy goes, wait. I'm like, what do you mean wait? He goes, hang on. A little girl comes out. Hi. So I'm like, I'm here like trying to race. I'm like, so I go in the bathroom. I really can't go. I went.
Wait, you cut out. I can't hear you. Ah. Okay.
You hear me now?
Yeah, be
You hear
careful
me?
moving too much because you cut out for a few seconds.
No, what happened is I got a phone call. Sorry. People are calling me.
That's
So.
what it is. You're getting a phone call. Okay. So
No.
the little girl
So yeah,
goes to the porta potty.
so I'm in the bathroom and I literally like my stomach's messed up.
Right.
I'm like, man, this is terrible. So I reach in my back pocket and I take the Gas X the first time. I'm like, I literally took it and I was like, I have no idea
what's gonna happen.
The outcome of my race right now. For me doing this, I've never eaten one of these before. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I took it. I was like, I can't believe I just did that. So I got back on the bike. I felt good because I got to go to the bathroom a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was literally like, I started playing catch up. I was a little bit out of my watts a little bit, like 230. So I kind of started pushing a little bit harder in there. And because I lost a lot of people that I passed.
Okay.
Like I knew. And in my head, I was like, man, so I kind of got a little messed up on that part. So I was pushing hard. And then mile 70, I decided to, mile 70 was almost where we had a turnaround. That's the first time I took caffeine.
Okay.
The whole ride.
Exactly what I recommend, though.
Yeah, I waited till mile 70. I didn't take a caffeine. After mile 70, I turned it up, man. I was like on fire. Like
well,
literally,
you had a tailwind, right?
I had a tailwind, but I was on fire. There's a couple sections. I think for 30 miles, I held over 24 miles an hour. 30 miles.
Wow. Yeah, with that
So
tailwind.
it was like, but I felt good. My power was 210 on the money. The caffeine actually made me feel better. It was kind of weird. Like normally.
Well, caffeine is a huge ergogenic aid that's totally fine for racing.
Yeah.
Like, it helps you actually tap into your fat stores. I don't know if you know that. But as long as you don't overdo the caffeine, it can actually help you just get mentally focused and dialed in and get into your flow. So
yeah, it helped me. I was on fire, like literally. Like, and then remember, because I did the first 3 hours of stingers, and then I was switching to caffeine.
Right.
For the 5 hours, two of the 50 milligrams. So I did the one, I did the other. I'm looking at all my, my numbers are like fine. I'm like, as I'm riding, I clicked down because I didn't have any speed on the bike. So I wanted to see I went to my average. I turned on my bottom screen as I'm riding average. And all this, I'm chewing, I'm eating my aminos, I'm taking the salt tabs. I mean, it's a lot of
work. It's a very logistical.
It's a lot of work just to know you're getting the
logistical thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So long story short, and then during like mile 85 or 90, there was a woman, I guess a pro racer, that was on the side of the road with a flat. I saw her in a distance, holding her hands up in the air, going, and I slowed down. I stopped my bike. I was grabbing the tube under the seat. I asked her, I go, do you have levers? She goes, I don't know. I have nothing in the bag. I go, do you have a CO2? She goes, no. I go, sorry. And I got back on the bike and I left. Yeah, because I was going to give her my tube, but then I'm like, what if I get a double flat? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I was going to throw her the tube if she had stuff to put it on, but she had nothing.
Do you know who that was? Do you know what?
I don't know. I don't know. She might see this and maybe call me out on it because whatever. It doesn't matter.
That asshole.
No, I mean, she knew she had nothing. I wasn't gonna give her my CO2s.
Right.
So whatever. So
you get back into town and
I'm going through the town. There's a part where you go north, which is very windy. Then you turn around, you go under some kind of like path under a bridge.
Okay.
And climb like it's a little skinny like path. It's kind of weird. So we go around that. I get back, and if you look at my numbers, 2 miles to the end of the race, I slowed down and work my heart rate to come down. I want to make sure I was around 128. So I slowed down for 2 miles. I was just praying my average stayed above 20 because I knew it was dropping, but I was like, whatever it is, man. But I got lucky. It was, So I slowed down and I just focused on breathing. I made sure my cadence was up. I was getting my legs ready. I was literally stopping and stretching each leg.
Perfect.
Standing up, moving my body around, trying to get ready for 2 miles.
That's awesome.
So I did that. I pulled back in. into the area. Very difficult to run with the shoes, so I stopped and took off my shoes,
Okay.
ran with my shoes in my hand and my bike, went back in transition.
And what was your bike time?
My bike time was 5 hours 30.
5:30. Yeah, and your swim time ended up being what? What?
It was 144.
144. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bike was like maybe 543, I think. It depends on the Ironman was a little faster than my watch, so I don't know how that. Maybe the transitions were so long. I don't know.
Okay, cool.
So what about I went to transition, dropped off my shirt with the bottles, but they want you to put everything in the bag. So I put everything in the bags,
Right.
organized it,
Yeah.
put on my thing, and my stomach's still messed up.
Right.
So finally, I go to the bathroom again. I'm in the bathroom again, but this time I'm happy.
Right. Everything gets out.
Everything's good. So
no side effects from the Gas X?
no, I actually I took another one at mile 90.
Okay.
At mile 90. I took one more on the bike. I was like, but I knew I could make it to the pits, you know what I mean? Like literally the transition. So I come around the corner, I'm running. I took I did a piece of, while I was in the transition, I took a macro bar. I chewed it, so I had food.
Right.
I took that, and I think I took a bite of a peanut butter and jelly or something I had that was like just a one bite,
Right.
just something. I was like,
different, just something different.
So I put on my other cycling. There's another cycling kit with all my nutrition in the pocket. So I put it on,
Awesome.
zipped it up, got my shoes, and I was out running, and then I see JJ and I see Ali. I'm like, we're out there like screaming at me, but I'm going too fast. I'm like, whoa! I gotta slow down.
Yeah,
like,
it's totally normal.
I'm supposed to be at 11-minute pace. That's the plan. So
yeah, that was the plan.
I slow back down to 11-minute pace, and I'm run walking. Then I run into Mike Estevez.
Yeah.
He's out there trying to smack me and grab me and all this stuff. So we're going along, and I'm walking, and people are like, run. I'm like, no, this is the plan.
Right.
So my heart rate's literally 128. I'm like right on the money. Like I'm doing great.
Yeah.
And then some of the guys I passed on the bike started running past me. I started running past. They're like, hey, what's up? I'm like, okay, I'm walking. This is what I got to do. I got to walk,
Right.
So I run, walk, whatever, make sure I, walked enough and run. And I was hitting like 10:45, like,
Yeah. Perfect.
like 15 faster than I was planning, but I knew it was cold. So,
yeah. Cooler weather makes it.
and my heart rate was low. So I felt good. So I got up to,
good.
and then my plan was on mile 6 or 6.5 and mile 13,
Yeah.
I was going to take a Cliff, 50 milligram. Let me get a water.
Okay. A Cliff block or what?
No, the whole Cliff gel.
Okay.
Cliff
A
gel.
Cliff gel. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. With caffeine or without caffeine?
Caffeine, 50 milligrams on the ends.
Yeah.
And I was doing the Morton gels in between. So that all worked out. I was running back from mile 6.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into some guy, Ironman, Florida. He did like an interview on a skateboard.
Okay, cool.
Like, so I got to find that, but so whatever, go to mile 13, do another thing. I start picking up the pace because I feel better.
Right.
Oh, matter of fact, on I got to back up. Mile 8,
Mm-hmm.
I'm running. And remember, every hour, on the hour,
Yeah.
I'm taking a salt tab and 2 aminos.
Yep. I remember
In my pocket.
baggies.
That's my plan, but I don't have any other salt in my nutrition. There's not much salt in here, not like on the bike.
Right.
So I'm at mile like 8 or 9, and I see a guy like locked up coming towards me, and there's a lady with him, and I go, oh my God, he's cramping.
Yeah.
And I go, wait. I stopped, go in my pocket, I pull out, because I put extra ones in there in case I dropped them.
Yeah.
And I hand the lady this little baggie with 3 pills. She looks at it, and I go, it's a salt tab and 2 aminos. The guy looks at it and is like, oh my God, he just throws it in his mouth. He don't know what he took. He just,
Right. That's awesome.
I keep running, I turn around, and then I realized when I was at mile 13, because I was having pains on my left hamstring, right quad,
Yeah.
left foot, right foot, left knee. It was switching around every couple miles, the pains.
Right. Yeah.
My left hip was hurting a little. So I was like, man, I go, you know what? I think I'm cramping. And I don't realize it. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do salt because it's only 500 milligrams, like supposed to be like 1,000. So I was like, I'm going to add the salt and the aminos every half an hour now.
Okay.
So I changed it.
Right.
And when I did that,
It changed.
oh my God, my heart rate came down to 122.
Sweet.
It lowered.
Right.
And I was actually able to run faster. I was scared to go faster because it wasn't in my plan, and I haven't been running that fast.
Right.
So like I was testing the water. It's like a 10:07.
Right.
I was like, let me see. I slowed back down to a 10:30. Then I went back to a 10:05, and then I brought it back. Each mile I was switching it around. I was like, I was just testing it.
So I have to ask you. I just want to ask you real quick though, because most people, when they start to feel those aches and pains, they start to shut down, right? Their ego starts talking to them and says, "Oh, this is it. You know, oh, it's just gonna get worse. You know, oh, everything's out the window." Like, what did you personally do mentally? You had the gastric distress, you know, on the bike. Then you get to the run and you're having these little setbacks. You know, I know you, right? So I know the answers to this stuff, but why don't you share, like, what is your mental strategy? You're problem solving, right?
So the first thing is honestly, like, I listened to a lot of inspirational speeches.
You do, that's right.
And I was like, just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Like if I really walked a long time, I was gonna stop. I was in that kind of pain. Like I was having pains.
Yeah.
And I was like, at some point, both of my feet were bruised on the bottom. Both were done. Yeah. So I was looking at my heart rate saying, okay, I'm at 122, 125. I go, I got it. I just got to keep running. My heart rate's low.
You just got to
my heart rate's not lying to me. I have a strap on. I go, I'm doing this. I'm like, I'm ignoring my legs right now. You know, like
good. That's exactly right. You have to literally say, shut up, legs. I'm doing this. Like it's mine. Yeah, doesn't matter.
Like I knew, like, oh, I'm not having a heart problem. I'm like, no. I have it.
Right.
Like it's just like I'm gonna run and run and run because I never did that distance either.
No,
so,
that's what I wanted to say. I think you got up to 16 miles. Was your longest run?
No. Ever I did 20
leading up to the race. Right?
No, 20. I did 20.
Oh, you did a walk around 20. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, walk around 20.
Okay.
But so and then also my plan during the run, because I noticed they had these on the course, the 100 milligram Martins.
Yeah.
So I grabbed one of those because I didn't have any of those. I brought my own Martins, And then so I did the cliffs on every end. So it was mile 20. I took a 50 milligram cliff and I said, you know what? 4 miles to go. I'm going to pop 100 milligram caffeine and I'm just going to run. I'm going to run that thing to the end.
Yay.
And I did that. So I popped. So I had, I guess 150 milligrams in the last, 7 miles. So, and you can see my times. Like I was dropping down. I was at a 9:41. I went down to a 9:30. I got down to like a 9:07. So awesome. I was like negative splitting the last of an Ironman,
But okay, so here you guys, this is supposed to be able to happen when you hold yourself back like this.
Yes.
So the reason that Dennis had this pretty amazing first ever Ironman is because he paid attention to the numbers in his training, not only on race day. And then he used those same numbers on race day to hold himself back, constantly pulling himself back, because the most common thing that happens is Ironman is you go too hard and then you blow up and you end up walking the whole last 10 miles.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I want to talk about that. So the same guys that passed me in the run at the beginning,
you passed them
I got them all at the end.
I know.
I got them all at the end. Especially awesome. They were around mile 20, mile 21. I got them all. I was blowing by people like even the people that were running at 10-minute pace, I was going by like literally a minute faster. Like it was like,
awesome. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be done.
And it was an amazing feeling because when I was running that fast, even the people in the crowds noticed, like, this guy's moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm moving and they're like, whoa, look at this guy, good pace. Oh my God. Like, it made people stand up. It was like, it made me feel good that I got people like to notice, like, and I was like, I'm doing this. And my heart rate, I think the highest.
What did you feel when you went down that chute, right? When you came around the corner and you went down that chute and Mike Riley's there saying your name, like, what did you feel?
It's so weird because I had a lot of emotions. Like when I was going, and I saw my wife. She was at mile 13 doing the turnaround.
Right.
And I ran by her, and I already was thinking about my grandparents, her dad that died. I was like, all this stuff was in my head, like my friends that passed away. It was like, So like it was like I was there doing it for them. Like it was like so at the finish line, you saw me kiss my fingers and hold them up, like
Yeah.
like I was just like, man, I was like, it was like for everybody, you know what I mean? Like it was very, very emotional. Like I was running, I didn't stop, but actually I stopped there in the middle of the run before to give my wife a hug and a kiss.
Good.
In the middle, we kept passing, but at the end, I was like, I just ran in there. It was good. It was good. And then when I got to the finish line, Mike Estevez is yelling at me, and I'm like, man, my legs, they're trying to wrap me up, and it's like 40. I think it got back into 49 or
Wow. Yeah.
50 degrees by then, so it was cold.
Yeah.
And then,
and like that's when the pain starts to set in and stuff like that. But I mean,
there was more. There was more. You didn't know what happened at the end. So at the end, I'm telling them I need to ice my legs, my hamstrings, my quads. I need to ice them. I'm not feeling good. I need to get some food.
Yeah.
So one of the guys, they send somebody with you. You have an aide that stays with you. They wrap you up.
Right.
So I go in, I grab a little food. I go to the aid station. I'm like, man, I need ice or something. My legs are killing me. Like I've gotten some pain because I was running those last 4 miles.
Right.
I ran it.
Yeah.
At a speed that I haven't been training at. I ran it. So I'm in there and they're like, oh, you got to sit outside. So I'm outside. It's cold. They wrap my legs up. All of a sudden, I start shaking. I'm like convulsing, shaking.
Yeah.
I have to take the bandage off. My stepkids are taking care of me. They're holding me. Alexa's like shaking like a leaf. I had to get to my truck. The people are moving out of the crowd. Like it was terrible. It was scary. So they got me to the truck. We got the heater on. Took me about 20 minutes to thaw. Like it was. I didn't realize how cold my hands were.
Yeah.
Like they couldn't even touch my hands in the run. That's how cold it was outside. So I was in shock.
Yeah.
So.
Well, definitely. I mean, hyperthermia is for real. So the fact that you didn't stop moving on the run is really important because the people that actually got colder and sometimes would have to stop just because of hyperthermia or not because of their fitness or anything like that.
Exactly.
Such an inspirational story. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
No, I mean, I'm good. It's a good, I'm happy with everything. So,
yes,
I mean,
what was your final time? What was your total time? 12?
It was 12:19.
12:19. Wow, that's just so amazing. Well, I want to personally say thank you so much for trusting me and trusting the process. And, we did argue several times leading up through this training program because this is something you've never experienced and this is something I've done, right? With many, many of my athletes. And smoothie by spray one. What does that mean, Jessica? But anyway, so I'm super proud of you, because you didn't, what's it called? It's executed. You executed your plan to the T. And you did not let your ego take over in any way.
No.
And that is why the results you had the results, right? So we had the goal. I remember the goal being like 12:40. And when you did a 12:19 in those conditions, I was like, oh my God, Dennis had the perfect race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah. It was exactly I think the bike could have been faster, but it was so windy. There's nothing I could do. It's the conditions.
So let's not talk about fitness wise. You're capable of a much faster race, but that's where we don't want to find your edge in the middle of an Ironman. You don't want to know where your max capacity is in the middle of an Ironman. No. It could cost you the entire race.
Of course. No, I stuck to the plan. This was the plan, 100%.
100%. So awesome, guys. I just want to say thank you again for trusting the process. I'm so proud of you. And let's talk about what's next. What's your next goal?
I don't know, man. I'm like now. Jessica was that day. It was like they were giving away like to the Utah race. I should have jumped on that, but you're so beat up that day. You don't want to take a world championship race.
I kind of have a rule that you're not allowed to make any decisions about any future Ironmans or any other races within 24 hours because if you have a great race, you tend to like go and sign up for something new. Maybe that's a little crazy. And if you don't have a great race, then you're like, I'm never racing again. But then we always know that you'll be back, right?
Yeah.
No one wants to have that bad race be their last race, right?
Yeah.
So
no,
I'm so excited. I know you want to stay in shape again. Like I'm COVID and all that stuff. You're back, right?
I'm back better. I'm 188. I weigh 188. I lost 32 pounds. So
that's amazing. So how many total pounds did you lose?
32.
32 in 4 months, pretty much.
5 months.
5 months. 5 months. That's amazing. Well, congratulations, Dennis. And if you guys are interested in learning about my triathlon transformation program, which Dennis is a part of, he can actually do Bike Fits remotely, right? So we can get a video of you guys. I'm really plugging my triathlon transformation program, even virtual, right? We're opening it up for everybody who's doing any spring Ironman, spring half Ironman. So please DM us if you're interested in having success, just like Dennis's. So I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Logan.
Comments, Dennis. Make sure you read all the comments because everyone's just like hearting it up. They're so proud of you. They love the story.
my son's on there.
Yeah, we've been talking for an hour. Congratulations, Logan. So proud of you as well. All right, you guys, wishing you all have an amazing night. Say bye, Dennis.
Okay, bye, everybody.
Bye.